Hi there, intertwined art friends. Today we are going to make this granny square cupcake dishcloth, and you may remember the two pieces of the cupcake that we made in our Like a Boss blanket series, where we made it here into a blanket square. So we're really using just the same applique, but we're going to turn it this time into a granny square. So we'll create the top, the bottom, the rows, and that's all done in another video for you. The written pattern is at intertwinedart.com, and you can also look up the video for the applique. But here we have the two pieces of the cupcake, and what I did was made sure that the right sides were facing me, and then I turned it over and I just sewed the orange base onto the white topping right here where the ruffle begins. And I just used a little tapestry needle and just wove the yarn through there. I placed the unworked side of the beginning chain up there at the top so that I have the single crochets down at the bottom, so it gives it a nice finished look. And so make sure that you get that attached, and then we're going to go ahead and start with the granny square here. So I'm going to grab some purple yarn and a size H 5mm crochet hook, and with the right side facing, right down here in the bottom right corner, we're going to just go ahead and join that purple yarn. So just pull that through, yarn over, and pull it tight. That's for the join, and then go ahead and chain 2. Now we're going to place in this same stitch as the join, we're going to place 3 double crochets, and from now on we'll just call that a shell. So it'll be 3 double crochets. There's 1, 2, and 3 makes our shell.
And from now on we'll just call that a shell.
And then we're going to chain 1, and right around the middle of this orange base we're going to pick a stitch to go through, and we are going to complete another shell there. So just find a stitch that you can work into. Oh wait, I wanted to do this as a double crochet. Hold on. So same thing that we did before, 3 double crochets in that stitch to make the shell. So there's 1, 2, and 3. And now we're going to chain 1, and then right up here towards the top of the orange base we're going to do another shell. So there will be 3 shells going up the side of the orange base here. So let me just get in here. Sometimes it can be tricky going up the side of a project because you're working into rows rather than stitches, but just find one that works for you and do 1, 2, and 3. Then we're going to chain 1, and then we're going to complete another shell right at this first stitch right above the ripple, or ruffle, whatever you want to call that. So there's 1, 2, these are all in the same stitch, and 3, and then chain 1. And here we're going to skip 2 stitches, so skip those 2, and then we're going to complete a shell in the next stitch. So there's 1, 2, and 3. Then chain 1, and we're going to skip 1 stitch here. And since the top of this cupcake curves in, we want to make our granny square or granny rectangle square or rectangle. So in this one, rather than doing a double crochet shell, we're going to do a triple crochet. So yarn over twice, we skip this stitch, go into the next stitch, yarn over, pull through, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2 again, and yarn over and pull through 2 again. That's a triple crochet. So we're going to do 3 of those for this shell just to give it a little bit more height. And there's the third one. And then since we're creating a corner here, this time we're going to chain 3. So there's 1, 2, and 3. And then in that very same stitch, we're going to complete another triple crochet shell. So just like we did before, this is a triple crochet stitch. So let's start that over. Yarn over twice, insert through the stitch, yarn over, pull through, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2. And then complete that 2 more times. So we have 3 triple crochets here again. Now chain 1, we're going to skip the next stitch and do a double crochet shell into the next. So these are just like the ones that we did going up the side, the double crochet shell, 3 double crochets in one stitch, chain 1, skip the next stitch, and do a double crochet in shell in the next one. So here's 1, 2, and 3 double crochets, then chain 1, skip the next stitch, and we're going to do 3 double crochets in the next. 1, 2, and 3, and then chain 1 and skip the next stitch, and we're going to create the next corner. So just like we did before, we're going to make this a triple crochet shell. So we're doing 3 triple crochets here. 1, 2, and 3. And then we're going to chain 3. So there's 1, 2, 3. That creates the corner. And then we're going to do another triple crochet shell in the same stitch, just like we did on the top right corner. So here's 1, 2, and 3. And chain 1, and now we're going to skip the next stitch, and we're going to do a double crochet shell. Whoop, I got a little out of the frame there, sorry about that. There's 1, 2, and 3. Then chain 1, and now we're going to do another double crochet shell. We're going to skip 2 stitches here and do this last one right above the ruffle on the left side. And I apologize for, there we go, we're back in frame now. So this is a double crochet shell right above this ruffle, or where the icing ruffles. So 1, 2, and 3 double crochets right there. Now we're going to chain 1, and just like we did on the other side, we're going to place 3 going down the side here. So the first one will be in a line with that one right near the top of the orange. So this is a double crochet shell again. So there's 1, 2, and 3 double crochets. Chain 1, and right in the middle, in alignment with that one, we're going to place another double crochet shell. So, wait, let me start that over. There we go. There's 3 double crochets in that stitch. So there's 1, 2, and 3. And then a chain 1. And then we're going to place the last one for this side at the very bottom corner stitch here. And this is a double crochet shell again. So here's 1, 2, and 3. And then to create this bottom corner, we're going to chain 3, 1, 2, 3, and then create another double crochet shell here. So there's 1, 2, and 3 double crochets going into that very same stitch. Now chain 1. Now we're going to skip these stitches here, and we're going to place this right at the bottom of this first ridge in our cupcake base. So another double crochet shell. There's 1, 2, and 3. And then chain 1 and place another shell at the bottom of the next ridge that sticks out. So there's 1, 2, and 3, and then chain 1, and we're going to do another shell at the bottom of this last little ridge. 1, 2, let me do that one again, 2, and 3 double crochets in that stitch. Chain 1, and now we're going to complete this corner down here, so we're going to place a shell in that same stitch that we did the very first shell. So here's 1, 2, 3 double crochets, and then we need to create the corner, so chain 3, 1, 2, 3, and then join with a slip stitch to that first double crochet that you placed there. So just join that with a slip stitch, and that's the very first round. Now you'll see here that we're starting to take on a nice rectangular shape, and that's why we made these top 2 corners taller by using the triple crochet stitches, so that it did kind of bulk that area up so that it did become a rectangle. So now we are going to start the second round, and I'll show you this next round. It gets very easy after this because it's all very repetitive. So here's a chain 2 and then turn your work. And then we're just going to create the corner just like we did before, and these are all going to be double crochet shells. So here's a double crochet shell, 1, 2, 3, and then remember to create the corner, we chain 3. So here's 1, 2, 3, and then another double crochet shell in that same space. So here's 1, 2, and 3. So now we've created the first corner of the second round. Now chain 1, and now we're going to be working in these chain spaces. So in this big open space, we're going to create our next shell. So just insert there and complete 1, 2, and 3 double crochets. Chain 1 and create another shell in the next open chain space. Chain 1 and create another shell in the next open chain space. Chain 1 and create another shell in the next open chain space. Then chain 1, and now we're here at the corner. So remember, at the corner we're going to do 2 shells in here. So we're going to start with 1 double crochet shell. So here's 1, 2, and 3, and we're going to create the next corner by chaining 3. So 1, 2, 3, and another shell in that same space. So there's 1, 2, and 3. Now we'll continue going all the way around here just by chaining 1 and then placing a shell in the open chain space. And I'll let the video continue to go and show you how that works, so that when we get to the end of the round I can show you the join and how to start the next round. While you're working on this round though, I'll remind you that this pattern is really pretty cool because we started off with the cupcake applique and we sewed it onto a blanket square that was a solid square. So we used it as an applique. You could use that for hats, bags, garments, pillows, just about anything that you wanted to add a cute little cupcake applique to. Now that we're turning it into a granny square, you get a whole other world of possibilities with it. I made these to be dishcloths, or you could use them as washcloths, a large mug rug, or a trivet. You could also make a bunch of these in different colors and do a big cupcake granny square blanket all in different squares. And make sure you do go back and check out the Like a Boss blanket series that I was working on, because not only did we have the cupcake there, but there's actually 24 different appliques in that series, so a ton of patterns for you to check out and try. All the patterns are free at intertwinedart.com. I do have the tutorials on the YouTube channel here, and we also have a large print ad-free PDF now available on Etsy, so you can find us there by searching for Intertwined Art Shop on Etsy. So here we are making the next corner. And actually I also took this square and added a few more rounds and then a border and turned it into a blanket for like an 18-inch, like an American Girl size doll. I'll show you a glimpse of that at the end of the video, and then I will also do a video that shows you how to make that border. But here we are Still working around with our chain 1 and then shell. And these do work up nice and quickly. Granny square blankets really do go pretty fast, and since it's so repetitive, you can kind of do this while you're watching TV, you know, something that you could be a little bit mindless, because once you get into the rhythm of it, it's super easy. I like to do these when we're traveling in the car, sitting watching a movie at home, anytime I just need to keep my hands busy. Seems whenever I work with white yarn, we get this fluctuation in the lighting, so I hope that doesn't affect your eyes too bad, but for some reason, every time I move the white yarn, it kind of brings the light brighter and dimmer. So, okay, here we are making the next corner. Here's the chain 3, another shell in that same corner. And then we just have a few more shells, and I'll show you the join. And I'll just show you how to start the next round. I did 3 rounds of purple on these dishcloths to get the size that I wanted. And then I'll show you how I finished them off with a really simple border. And if it's easier for you, once you sew the applique together before you start making the granny square portion of it, you could weave those ends in and get them out of your way. That might be a little bit easier if you like a little bit less clutter. Here's a shell. And then a chain 1 and another shell. Chain 1, and is this our last shell? Yeah, our last shell here. So then we're going to chain 1 and just slip stitch with that first, on top of that first double crochet, go ahead and slip stitch there to join this round. And then to start round 3, we want to get into this corner. So what we're going to do is simply slip stitch our way over there. So slip stitch in the next stitch, slip stitch in the next stitch after that, and then slip stitch in this chain space, and that gets us into the corner. Now we can chain 2, and then we can start the third round simply the same way that we did before. Remember, for each corner you're going to do a shell, chain 3 and another shell, and then the rest of the way around you're just going to chain 1 and shell in the open spaces. And you can see here, this is what it looks like with 2 rounds. This is the back, of course. Here we go on the front, and straighten that out a little bit. For the one that I completed, I did 3 rounds of the granny square stitching, so just 1 more all the way around, and it came out to about 7 inches by almost 8. So for me that worked well. That was the size that I wanted to use. And I'll show you real quick here how to just finish up with the border. So once I did the third round of granny squares, let's say I just finished that, and then for the border, to give it a nice finished look, I just did a chain 1 and turn the work so the right side is facing you. And then just go ahead and do a single crochet all the way around. So in the double crochet stitches, you'll just simply do a single crochet. So there's 1, 2, 3. And then when you come to the chain space, you just do a single crochet in there. So just insert your hook, yarn over and pull it through, yarn over and complete a single crochet. So you do that all the way around, just single crochet in each double crochet and single crochet in each chain space. When you get to the corner, just put 3 single crochets in that corner, and it'll come out nice and rectangular for you. So there you have it. I hope you enjoyed this project. Like I said, you can make this as big or as little as you want, so the possibilities are kind of endless here. Just weave in your ends when you're done. You'll sew on the little rosette that we did for the little cupcake topper, and have a really cute project for you there. Here's a quick glimpse at the doll blanket that I made, so you can see it's quite a bit bigger, and I did the white border on it. And I will do a quick video that will show how to do that border. It's super simple, and I'll just break that up into another video though so that this one doesn't get too long. So I hope you enjoyed it. Like I said, be sure to subscribe to the blog at intertwinedart.com. Subscribe to the YouTube channel here. Favorite us on Etsy so you don't miss a thing. I appreciate you joining me today. Thanks so much. Bye-bye.